So, we've all heard that word negligence get thrown around, right? Especially when there's an accident. But what does it actually legally mean? Turns out it's way more than just a simple mistake. There's a specific legal formula that courts use to figure it all out.
Okay, picture this. You're in a grocery store, and someone slips on a wet floor. Was that just bad luck? Or was the store actually negligent? I mean, how do courts even begin to decide who's responsible? Well, it turns out there's a really clear method, almost like a legal equation, that they use to solve this exact kind of mystery. To get to the bottom of it, we have to start with the official definition. You can think of this as the key that unlocks the whole concept. It really is the starting point for any claim.
And here it is, straight from the legal textbooks. I know, it sounds a little dense, but trust me, every single part of this sentence is absolutely crucial. We're going to break down exactly what legal duty, reasonable care, and damage really mean.
Okay, let's translate that into plain English. At its heart, negligence is when someone who has a responsibility to keep you safe is careless, and that specific carelessness is what directly causes you harm. That's the core idea right there. Now, what's really cool about that legal definition is that it gives us a perfect three-part checklist. This is the exact formula a court uses to figure out if a negligence claim is actually valid.
And here they are. A court is going to ask 3 questions. 1. Was there a duty of care in the first place? 2. Was that duty broken? And 3. Did that break directly cause the damage? If you want to make a claim, you have to be able to prove yes to all 3. So let's take a quick look at each one.
So, Step 1 is all about establishing a duty of care. This just means proving that some kind of legal relationship existed where one person had a responsibility to be careful around another. For example, every driver on the road has a duty of care to all the other drivers and pedestrians. A doctor, of course, has a duty of care to their patient.
All right, once you've got the duty, you then have to show it was breached. This is the carelessness part of the whole thing. The big question here is, did the person's actions fall below the standard of what a reasonable person would have done in that same situation?
And this is the final piece of the puzzle, causation. You see, it's not enough that someone was just careless. Their carelessness has to be the direct reason for the harm. You have to be able to draw a straight line from their mistake right to the injury or damage.
Now, there's a really important point here that gets confused all the time. When we talk about negligence, we're talking about a very specific state of mind, and it's probably not what you think.
Negligence is all about accidents. It's about carelessness. Whether someone intended to cause harm is completely irrelevant. This is totally different from intentional harm, where someone deliberately sets out to hurt someone. The law treats those two things in completely different ways.
So why are we even talking about this? Why is this 3-part test so incredibly important? Well, the tort of negligence, as it's called, is a massive, and I mean massive, area of our civil law.
Just think about it for a second. It's one of the most common legal claims people file. It's a core subject that every single law student has to master. You've got entire law firms that are built around specializing in just this one thing. At the end of the day, it's the main way our society makes sure people get compensation when they're hurt by someone else's carelessness.
So, now you know the 3-part test: duty, breach, and causation. I'll leave you with this question. As you go about your day, where do you see that duty of care in action? Once you start looking for it, you'll start seeing it absolutely everywhere.